Hey everybody, I hope everyone's having a fantastic Saturday. It's pouring the rain here and more rain, can't get away from it. But that's okay, I hope it stops raining before I have to get out. I have to get out in an hour or two. Look how dark it is, it's just 15 to 4. And it is like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, it's so dark. But anywho, I came on here to talk about Jasper, and his haircut. Before I do that though, I've got some new subs, and I want to talk about them. The first one is Goldilocks829. Her name is Janice, and she lives in Ohio. The next is Brojo Ghost. His name is John. Next is Yo-Yo Max 2. That's Tammy's mother. She lives in Canada. The next is String Queen 2002. Her name is Mary and she lives in Texas. The next is Ron the Red Dragon, and he lives in Missouri and his name's Ron. Thank you all so much for subscribing to me. I really appreciate it. Okay, on to the story about the Jasper. Well, you know, James doesn't get home till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to have him down there at 8 o'clock. So by the time James gets home, gets him a little bite to eat, and we talk a little bit and whatever, you know, it's 4 o'clock before he goes to bed. And, you know, I just can't close my eyes and go to sleep. It takes a while for me to go to sleep, so I decided that I wasn't even going to go to bed. I was just going to stay up and leave the house about 7:30, because it takes about 30 minutes to get down there, and I thought, well, I'll just go down there. So James said, well, you want me to help you put him in the box, his carrier and stuff? I said, no. I said, I'll be okay. You just stay home and, you know, stay in the bed and get you some rest, because he had to go to work. Well, I went ahead and got up and got ready, and Jasper, poor thing, didn't know it. He was so loving the night before James comes home. He always wants James to pet him, and I told him, I said, that poor baby does not know what's going to happen to him. So anyway, I got up and got ready and everything, and James must have heard me up downstairs, so I heard him get up, and he came on downstairs, and so he said, I'll help you put him in the carrier and get him out to the car, and I said, okay. So I was going out the door, and I said, honey, I'll open up the passenger door, and you just bring him on out here, and then you can go on back to bed, and I'll just head on down the road. Well, James got him in there, and he got him to the door, and the carrier came apart. It come plumb apart, fell on the floor, scared Jasper to death, and honey, he took off running like a wildcat. So I said, Lord have a brand new carrier. I paid $57 for that thing, and that was without shipping. I got free shipping on it. So James and I go in the living room. That's right beside the front door. And I said, well, what are we going to do? This is probably 2 videos. And I said, well, you reckon if we tape it together, you know? So he said, well, you got any tape? And I usually keep duct tape around here. But I didn't want to go through the hassle trying to find it. And I just bought some new shipping tape. It had string in it. It's reinforced shipping tape. So I said, well, let's try that. So James puts the carrier back together with all its snaps and stuff, and we tape it back together, and I think, oh Lord, please let it, you know, please let it hold up. Stupid carrier. And I can't send it back because I always put his name on the carrier, so I put Jasper on it, you know, on his last name. But I said, well, let's go try to find him. And I tell you what, we hunted high and low in every room in this house, this 2-story house, every closet. Could not find that cat. He hid himself good. And James says, well, I bet he's under the couch in the family room. I said, James, he's too fat. He can't get underneath that thing. So we didn't even look there. Well, we could not find him. James said, well, I guess we're going to have to give it up. I guess you're just not going to be able to take him. I said, and then he went over to the family room couch, and he was going to, you know, sort of turn it over. It's a big old gigantic couch. And I said, well, hold on, I'll help you. So we looked behind and he wasn't there. But when we turned it over, there he was underneath that couch, honey. The back part of it must be raised up, or the back part must come up higher than the front part. Because I know he can't get it in the front part. So, honey, and he was, you know why I figured out he'd be a wildcat and he'd fight and hiss. But, honey, it was like he's a limp kitty. He's like... You know what I mean? He was just give out. I mean, I guess his heart was pounding out of his chest, and he let me pick him up, and he's so big, he's so hard to pick up. And James said, he said, here, give him to me. He said, go get me a sheet. And he said, we'll wrap him up in that sheet, and I'll just ride with you. We'll put the carrier in the back seat. And he said, when we get there, we'll put him in the carrier and let them handle him. So... James held him in the sheet with covered up so he couldn't get car sick. He gets so car sick. And Steve, by the time we got down there, he spit up all over himself. And he was just in a shock. He was just shocked. I felt so sorry for him. And I was in a state too, because it upsets me that he's upset. You know what I mean? And we got down there and James said, don't give him no poof. I don't want no poof on his tail. I said, James, let him cut him the way they know how to cut him. He's a mighty hunter, and I don't want no poof on his tail. I said, well, Jasper could care less if he's got a poof on his tail or not, you know. So the light girl said, well, you want him in line cut? And I said, well, just cut him. Just get those knots off of him. And I told him, I said, he's so matted up. She said, well, we'll probably have to take a razor to him. She said, will that be all right? And I said, yeah, just get the knots off of him, you know. So, oh, and I didn't get to tell you that when we were going to see, it's a walk down. It's like in a basement. Not really a basement, but the bottom half of a house or whatever, building. And, honey, I about fell down the steps, twisted my ankle, sort of my foot, and it's sore as a bull today. My little pinky toe's purple. Ever since I fell down and broke my ankle, I'm terrified of steps just about. And I tell you what, I about fell. But anyway, so we come home, and I told James, I said, honey, just go on to bed. And I said, I'm going to call them and see if they can give me, because I forgot to ask. Call them and ask him how long did they think it would be, because the last time we took him, I took him down there early in the morning, what James and I did, and it wasn't about 3 o'clock when we picked him up. I mean, he was there all day long. Terrified, poor baby. With all them other animals.